until I figure this laptop. You know, because I don't have StreamYard on here. I probably could do it. I'm gonna try to go through that. But right now, we're just gonna check. But Baba, could you check GMS Chicago on their live? Is that you?
No,
is that it?
No,
That's not
we ain't got no motorcycles.
Right.
Baba, could you? And
Nah,
Your point.
is it good? Okay.
Yeah,
no, we good.
yeah, we just go ahead.
Is that on yours?
Not on there live.
No, it's good. That's the one I just did.
Okay.
I just said.
What I just said?
All right.
I'm sorry, I was cutting this food and just made this dumbass comment.
Perfect.
Check these foods.
That's it. Circle.
Shalom. We are the brothers of the Great Millstone, the branch here in Chicago. And first and foremost, we want to give all praises, glory, and honor
To Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Hashem, Rekakodash.
double honors to the apostles, double honors to the elder bishops. Salutations to all our fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so now more so than ever. To the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners among the heathens that look like the heathens, and to the Aquaf that are listening and learning to you, we say shalom. All right, now we're just going to talk about this perpetual, state of unrighteous decrees. All right, they're just never ending, and it's going to remain that way until the return of Yahushua, which, through the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, it's if you have spiritual eyes, it's evident that time is close at hand. If you've been watching, that event that just took place down in Brazil with the Asherites, they had their satanic parade, their carnival wickedness, and then the very next day, the Lord, struck them with vengeance with a great flood that killed people and destroyed a lot of property. And right, lightning hit that statue weeks before. So the Lord ain't playing, man. The Lord is not playing. But if you could go ahead, brother.
This second address. The second address, chapter 16, and verse I'll just get to the point. 19. Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for a minute.
Right.
But for all these things, they should not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. So, like that flood, that's a scourge.
Mm-hmm.
The earthquake in Syria, that's a scourge. But these people won't repent. What does it say in I believe it's Zechariah, but I know one of the minor prophets says the Lord brings his judgment every day, but the wicked know of no shame.
Right.
All right, these motherfuckers refuse to repent, so the Lord is going to come down with his full wrath. That's the only option left at this point.
Right. You get the same results, but you continue to do it. The results you don't like, but you continue to do it. Yeah, that's it. That's exactly what it is.
It's saying to the mid part.
That's it.
Isaiah 28:2. Behold, the Lord have a mighty and strong one, which is as a tempest of hell, a destroying storm. That was a storm that hit. And it says, and as a flood of mighty waters overflowing shall cast down to the earth with the hand. So, the Lord ain't playing around, man.
If this is second address 15:11, and I will bring them with a mighty hand and stretched out arm and smite Egypt with plagues as before, and will destroy all the land thereof. Right now we're in the right in modern day Egypt, according to the scriptures, and the plagues. This is spiritual Egypt, right? Revelations 13:11 or something like that, or 13.
11.
Oh, it's like 11 and 8. It's like I had it backwards. All right, and the Lord calls this Egypt. Well, back in ancient Egypt, before the Passover, before we were released, the Lord started putting the plagues on them before.
Right.
And the Lord says He's doing it now. So I'm hearing about the train derailments. We're hearing about that's a plague.
Yep.
Hearing about the weather. That's a plague.
Yeah.
You're hearing about
The bank run.
The bank run.
Right after the Passover, you got this bank failure, and now you got people lining up in California
Mm-hmm.
to get their money, and they can't get it, man.
Yep.
And you lines and lines of people, and some of those people have millions in there, and they want to know what happened to the rest of their money because they only insured up to $250,000.
Is it
And
that?
And there's a threat that this may carry on. That I haven't really followed up, but I saw a couple other content providers on YouTube saying that this thing is going to continue and it's starting to go to other banks.
Well, Elder, the plagues are just gonna escalate. It's just gonna get worse.
They ain't gonna pull back.
Exactly.
Well, you know what? What's funny is everybody's talking about this one bank collapse. There were 2 bank collapses this week.
Right.
They only talk about the Silicon Valley, but what they
Then
not
Bitcoin
mentioning-
collapsed too.
Bitcoin dropped because the crypto bank Silvergate collapsed, which was the bank. The other banks that really use the cryptos. This bank allowed all the cryptos to be used and shit. And that collapse, which really is the setup for the CBDC.
Right.
Because now you can't use your crypto like you would, or the value's going down. We got the solution. The dollar's through. Y'all crypto weak as fuck. We got some real shit for you.
And we can rob you in the meantime, because every time they do that, every time it's a bank run, every time the FDIC comes involved, when they say up to 250,000, doesn't mean you're going to get
Right.
250,000.
Up to.
You might
That's-
somebody who might have 10, 15 million or a billion in there, they might get 250.
Yeah, and if you number 50 in line,
Shit.
by the
That's
time
how-
you get to the teller, they might have 10 grand for you.
You know what else is?
They might.
Right.
The U.S. Treasury Secretary rules, which they already said this, but it was so under the rug. But the Treasury Secretary ruled out a bailout for Silicon Valley Bank. They ruled it out. Ain't no bailout.
It's a bail-in.
Well, they've been saying
So the
that.
bail-ins are going to start.
The
And
bail-ins are
then,
gonna
I
start.
saw a video which I was trying to find about those unrighteous decrees. They were speaking about Ukraine, and the guy was complaining about how the Biden administration is now paying Ukrainians pensions and shit.
Wow.
When they can't even pay. Yeah,
We can't pay ours,
but
but
they
we pay
can't even
yours.
pay
Wow.
people here.
Yeah, that's
All right. Well, Jack
What?
can't even get a loan to open up a business in their own.
Why everybody in America ain't been fucking.
Well, at least Judah anyway.
So this is Isaiah 10:1. Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that right grievousness which they have prescribed. What you just said is another unrighteous decree. How the hell? And this is what's making Esau turn on Esau, which is beautiful. Because these people who worked for Esau all these years, these Bible Belt Edomites, these factory Edomites, these Polish Edomites, and farmer
A lot of
Edomites,
farmers got fucked over.
right? And then they got all this money set up in their pensions and so forth. And now their pensions, they keep saying how they don't have enough money to cover their pensions. They don't even have enough money to cover Social Security. But you got enough money to take whatever you got and send it over to a foreign country, to some foreigners.
They ain't got enough money to keep them damn jets in the sky spraying that shit all over.
all the time.
That that shit, and people, regular citizens, are starting to talk about it now. That's right. The chemtrails.
So when I was doing
Right? They got,
UPS,
I can only imagine how much it costs to fuel them damn jets
Mhm.
because they up every day, all damn day
Multiple
long,
planes.
just
multiple.
crisscrossing the sky over every major city in America, so it seems.
Mhm.
But they got money for that shit.
Now, when I was doing UPS last peak season, one of the Edomite ladies, when I was dropping off something, she was trying to put me on to telling me about the chemtrails. And when I started breaking it down, she said, "Oh, you know about it?" I was like, "Yeah," and it's not the only thing I said. But she's like, "Yeah," I said, "Nobody wants to listen." And she's, Jake is, don't know in mass, but these Edomites, these heathens, they're waking the fuck up. That's why they call this woke movement or whatever.
Right.
Because you know what, you can distract the average, especially the average Negro Speakro, with a football game, with both ways,
Right.
a soccer game,
Big old-
football game,
Big old titties.
and a football game.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah. Well, I'm a breast man myself. But Jake, average Jake, you put a big old fat rump in their face, and put
Bring it
a
out.
some sport, a blunt, a big
Bring
screen
it out.
TV, and they good to go, and a pair of Jordans.
Modern Warfare 2.
Yep, there you go, man. Modern Warfare game, that's it.
2K.
Yeah, that too. Like
Mortal Kombat.
they don't need it. They can forget about what's going on outside because they're gonna play that game till they get they get hungry. Then they're gonna smoke the blunt. Then they're gonna go try to get up with the Chiefs.
So that's what it's all about. You continue on in that Isaiah 10 because it's not only the bread and circuses, all right, that is turning aside the needy from judgment. It's also their unrighteous decrees and policies, and ultimately their ultimate agenda, of getting everyone CHIP, all right, PED.
See,
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 you know what I'm saying? With this thing, this implantable device that's gonna go in your skin, but it's the mark of the beast, man, that the scriptures are talking about. And then for them to play God and have a new world order, a one world government in wickedness. That's their ultimate agenda. So they're gonna, gradually put out these unrighteous decrees to get to that ultimate agenda. You see? And so a part of that also is like the elders and bros are going into these bread and circuses too,
Mm-hmm.
What you got, brother?
Oh, did you want
Oh, yeah.
Just one second, let me finish. This is back to Isaiah. Did I change the chapter? No,
Yeah.
I just went down. Okay.
You're in
Well, 10 and 1.
10.
Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees and that right grievousness which they have prescribed.
Why?
Oh, to turn aside needy from judgment, to take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fatherless.
So it's an agenda against the Most High special chosen children, ultimately.
That's right.
Yeah, and Esau has paperwork that literally changes as he goes along. He's playing a game of football, but he keeps moving the goalposts. Right?
Well, with the
He
scripture.
changed the rules.
Right, he changed the rules mid-game, right?
Well,
When you start winning,
he said, let our strength be the law of justice. So when you start flourishing with their unrighteous laws that they had previously made up,
Gotta change it.
now we gotta change it.
The
perfect example of what you just said.
Mhm.
That what do they call it? The bankruptcy, the chapter 7, chapter 11.
Yeah, 13.
Those, well, whichever ones they are. But going back to the 60s, the 70s, all right. The matter of fact, the 50s, 60s, 70s, even the 80s, Edomites were doing the bankruptcy and keeping all their possessions.
Donald Trump.
Keeping their businesses open.
Donald Trump.
is a perfect example of it. But they just changed the name because the business was shut down, then it would open back up under a new name, and it's the same owners.
Right.
Right. So they would just wipe away their debt and start all over again. All right. But as soon as Jacob started doing that in the 90s, because Jake found about it late. So Jake started doing it in the late 90s, early 2000s, and all of a sudden all the laws changed.
It was especially when they started doing it with student loans.
Bring it out.
Esau used to be able to claim bankruptcy off the student loans for decades, and then once, like you said, once Jake and them started to wake up, then came the laws and the amendments.
There it is.
Right. See, but at the end of the day, it was not for us, the Israelites, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, to flourish anyway in a world that was given over unto the wicked. You see, and that's why the title of the lesson is a perpetual state of unrighteous decrees. This is what's going to be from the powers that be, because Job 9:24, the earth was given into the hand of the wicked. So the Most High gave them the earth. That's why it says that evil seed was planted from the beginning, and nothing is going to be produced from an evil seed but evil. But the Most High has bounds that evil cannot pass, but it must reach its bounds. And what you got? You look like you got something.
It's Ecclesiastes 7:7. Surely oppression maketh the wise man
You
mad.
see, surely oppression maketh the wise man mad. And what's being oppressed is the righteousness. Which righteousness produces immortality, life everlasting. So truly what's being oppressed is life. So you should be mad about that if you're about life.
And not about it.
See, because it's a bunch of mindsets, decrees, policies that leads to wars, rape, rob, murder, kill, ultimately death.
You know what, brother?
Yeah.
Most Jake right now, especially young niggas, Jake, they are mad right now. They're mad about college, March Madness. So they're watching college football. They okay.
College basketball.
See, but they're not truly mad of what's going on in the world because
Absolutely
they're
not.
still following the mindsets of this world and trying to flourish in a world that was given over unto the wicked, man.
I gotta.
You see, well, he still got that.
Like the old rap, they're trying to make $1 out of 15 cents. That's a very difficult thing to do. Go ahead, brother.
And a gift is short of the heart.
And see, and they know that. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
So like, no, sorry.
No, I was just gonna say that they know that the powers that be, the wicked, all right, they know that they can entice you with these gifts. So now you're not looking at the true agenda. You're not looking at truly what's going on, the true problem and the root of it. You know what I'm saying? Now you just sassified. You know what I'm saying? By all the dainties, the money, cars, clothes.
That's
the
why
gifts.
that's why Esau's okay. That's why they get mad and defend this devil and speak up against them.
Especially women.
Yeah.
But they're the number one.
Because Esau allows you to be a goddamn bitch ass nigga, man.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
that's
A
it.
mole,
Yep.
like them a goon. Matter of fact, anything. As long as Esau doesn't care about Jake do, as long as it's not following Yahweh Shem Shai is true.
That's it.
We got a quick one. This is Psalms 94 and 20. Show the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which frameth mischief by law.
Framing mischief by law. These grievousness, what they do, like the scripture says, Esau, the wicked, cannot even go to sleep. They're sitting there tossing, they turn, and they're like, I can't sleep. What's wrong? I just can't sleep. Let's tax the niggas this way. Let's fuck them up that way. 99.
Look, what bib around his neck.
Right. Hey, but it says the throne of iniquity. That's letting you know iniquity, wickedness, all right, basically sin, all right, has power right now.
Is it?
You see, they're in power right now because the Most High has given them power for a purpose and for a time.
The earth is given into the hand of the
Exactly.
Let me read the next line. Baruch.
Yep.
This is Psalms 94 and 21. They gather themselves together against the soul of the righteous and condemn the innocent blood.
Woo, you see? They gather themselves against the soul of the righteous. This is what the whole thing is all about, man. Wickedness or righteousness against unrighteousness, or good against evil.
Mm-hmm.
You
I mean,
see?
this is age old battle.
Yeah.
This is, and the Lord knew this coming in because He thought about it all,
Mhm.
right? So we're entering to the fruition of what He says.
Yeah.
But you go look at from Genesis to Revelation, and look at the evidence and the receipts. You can see that Esau Edom has been systematically pushing everything into this agenda that we have right now.
And how the scriptures say, because it is in the power of their hands.
Yes.
Right. And
It's
you
in this
got to
power.
understand, like when you're watching the news, the day-to-day news, news is actually history. Because you can go back and find old news articles on certain topic and events and prove Esau to be liars about a lot of things that they teach in the school.
Because they got
And I'm gonna give you a perfect example. I've been rewatching The Last Kingdom, and this actually might be like the third time. I really like the show, but every time you watch it, there's more little things you miss that you get. And but there's one. I think this is second season, season 8. There's a scene where the king, who was being played by Edomite, he wasn't an Edomite. That's another thing that aggravates the shit out of me. But Alfred was being a bitch nigga over his daughter, and the other dude was like, no. Alfred was being a bitch nigga over his daughter. It was the dude who was Otto, who was Alfred's hand. He was the hand of the king. Alfred had killed his own son because the son came up against the king and against the kingdom. And basically the king's daughter had been kidnapped, and if they didn't pay a ransom, he was like, what will happen to her? He said, well, we're gonna put her on a cart, and we're gonna they're gonna tie her on a cart with her legs cocked open, and then she's just gonna get spread around to every man had their turns, so she's gonna get raped thousands of times. And it was gonna be a shame to the king and to the whole kingdom if she met a fate like that. So they was trying to pay a ransom, and the hand of the king was like, well, we can't allow it to happen. And Alfred was like, if we march on them, they'll kill her. And he was like, better her to die than to have to bear that shame. And we need to stop them. And basically, he said, he reminded him that I killed my son for this kingdom. You should at least consider your daughter. You still have a son to keep your name going.
Dang.
I don't have no heir. So don't tell me about sacrificing. And then Alpha fired him as his right hand.
Damn.
So, and then, I got a point to this. So then he's like, okay, I'm gonna take my leave. Secretly, the army and all the people were behind him. They weren't with Alfred's decision. They weren't great because basically he was about to break everybody. They had to give up 500 pounds of gold, 300 pounds of gold, and 500 pounds of silver. Everybody's about to be broke as hell for this one broad and can't live. And so basically the army marched with him. So when he left, the army marched with him, and they were going to attack. And he said, well, I'm doing this for the kingdom. If I die, I'm gonna die, but I'm gonna save this kingdom, regardless of what this weak ass king says. So he said, and then when basically he said, and if they begin to, and then they're gonna have to go to war with us, and then the army, the rest of the king's army is gonna have to come fight regardless, and we'll have saved the kingdom. And if I die, then so be it. I saved the kingdom. That's pretty much what happens. And of course, Uhtred already had a plan. He went to go snatch her up, and then it all kind of happens. And then Alfred takes him and puts him in prison for him to be put on trial to die. And he's like, I ain't going out like that. He killed himself. But the point is that when they wrote the history, show you how much of it, and Esau takes a page from this. When they went to write the history, they wrote what he did out of history. Like he never existed, and he never even saved the kingdom.
Wow.
And the same thing happened with Uhtred. Uhtred saved that kingdom over and over and over again. But by the time it got to the end, his name, you saw images of this guy, this warrior, all over the place.
Right.
But you never.
But he even said it in one of the episodes how it's not gonna be recorded. It's not gonna be written down.
And this
it's not
is
gonna be written.
and that is this wicked man. He only puts things out that's going to be to
His narrative.
And this goes
and to control his narrative.
Right. It goes
And then that comes in the form often of his unrighteous decrees.
Daniel says they will think to change times and laws. Esau wants to control the narrative so bad he rewrites history.
Good time to bring out that thing.
Which one?
The shameful spewing on their glory.
Okay.
Get that scripture. Interview with Bill Gates.
I got you.
Whether it's real or fake, it's still the point still being made, because whether the mainstream media wants to admit it or not, this is the general conversation of most people, citizens around the world right now about Bill Gates.
Hey, Elder, remember when that comedian Louis C.K. said it? He basically said, because Esau has done this in history, you would think Jacob never got no victories. The comedian Louis C.K. said it. He said, you can go back in time. Now, mind you, he believes that the white man has always been in rulership.
Of course.
He said, you can go back any time back as a white man and everything's going to be.
He said before 1965.
Right. He said, you could go any time back in time and you'd be straight. He said, but I would hate to go into the future, which that's part of rewriting history, is them believing that they've been on top since time, since Alexander, since before Alexander.
It's like I always tell them, and they get mad and talk shit. Look, you weren't the Vikings.
That's right.
You weren't the Brits. You weren't the Scots. You weren't the Irish. Right? You're not Japhet. You're
not the original Romans.
You weren't the Spartans.
The last samurai.
You weren't right. So
And not the Egyptians, they mad at
That
him
too.
for that. They canceled him from hosting a award show because of that. He said the Egyptians was dark skinned. He says
because they want to completely disregard the Valley of the Kings and all the history prior to the Ptolemies.
that's madness. You're not the Babylonians. You're not the Assyrians. These are the kings that came before Greece.
You're nothing but the devil. That's all you are.
According to the book of Josephus and the scriptures, every place they go, they put in their own names on shit and then put it on records and then perpetuate.
And that's a righteous decree within itself. Come on,
Yeah.
because you're pushing forward lies and racist narratives.
And has the power to do so.
That's it.
What
And the
you
platform
hold,
and
Habakkuk, you call for?
Go ahead, bring it out, bro.
This is Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 16. It says, Thou art filled with shame for glory. Drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. The cup of the Lord Yahweh's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be on thy glory.
Right? Shameful spewing on your glory, man. So we're about to place
So it's
an
gonna be brought low.
example of it.
Right, this is just beginning. You know, it says you should be first destroyed by the mouth, and then with the burn of his coming.
Ooh, before you play it, somebody get Job 27 and 15, because if you notice, the majority of now there are some Edomite males who go in on bullshit when they calling it now, right? But the majority of the people that are calling Esau on his bullshit in his history are Edomite women.
Job 24:16.
The 27 and 15. They're some of the main people that are exposing Esau's lies, his corruption, are his own women.
Nobody knows a power change, a regime change quicker than women. And our women did it before the slave ships, no slave ships. You watch that Woman King movie. But you go out here, said the Hembe tribe, they partook in slavery. They partook in selling slaves. All right, which those women were really just sex slaves for army. All right, but who knows more than a woman in regime change? What was the comedian made the joke, Elder Malcolm? He was like, "You white women was right there with us."
Yeah.
We was running shit. How dare you now try to switch sides?
He said right. He said something. What he said? You stepped over the fence with your Gucci boots.
Over the fence of oppression.
Right. Over the fence of oppression and jumped in there like, we're so oppressed.
Right.
He said you stood by all us toxic white males as we were rape, robbing, and pillaging the world, stealing lands and countries, and so you were right there with us.
Right.
So you just need to shut up, sit down, and take your talking to.
Right.
He was like, you were there the whole time.
Right.
But but now
The comfort level changes
when
when
you all, and we also turn a blind eye when you want to go, and hook up with a black guy every now and then. And when you got caught, you said it wasn't consensual.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Mhm.
They know
But
the
you're right.
change is coming. Yeah.
Women know when the change is coming.
This hegemony, I think it's called. No, not hegemony, hypergamy.
Hypergamy.
That's the word, hypergamy. I heard that.
This is Job 27:15. And so it says,
take your talking to.
right, take your talking to. I think you take two.
No, don't jump ship, bitch.
I mean,
Jump ship.
And he
But
fucked
you
up
want-
because he married a nigga woman too. So in case you didn't know.
Exactly.
Right.
Those that remain of him shall be buried in death, and his widow shall not weep.
They ready, man. They was already fucking the Julio the pool boy.
Yeah.
You know?
Hey, this dude's daughter is getting stroked out by Jake, man.
That's right.
Yeah,
And
She
she's
getting blacked.
bearing it.
She getting blacked.
Yeah, he murdered. He
Black.
Yeah,
Black.com. Go look it up.
and she is the one who's posting up all their videos and pictures in there. And every time,
Jake smiling like a mother.
I have not seen him not have
And she smiling
full
too.
teeth.
Because you know what? I ain't going in front to you, man. If I was banging this dude's daughter and spending this money, I'd be smiling too. And, and people don't understand, man. There's no greater way to shame your enemy than to have your way with his women.
Ain't that what Tony was
And real women support that. I was watching what was that show in Game of Thrones with the one with Khal Drogo when him and his men were going to ride and go fight the enemy. His wife was like, "You rape their women." You know, she was like, "Conquer them, bring back the gold, and rape those wenches." Like patting them on the back, "Go get them, honey."
That's it. Bring us back some slaves.
Now, I'm like, damn, this is a woman right here, man.
Yeah, bring me back some help.
That's some real shit.
Wow.
That's some real shit.
Help. I gotta put some of this. I can hear Murph right now talk about that sweet white meat.
And I'm wondering if she's adopted because Bill and Melinda Gates is
Ugly motherfucker.
This girl is fine, man.
She fine.
So I don't know if they came out of his loins and out of her womb at all.
You know they say
Absolutely.
What you just said is actually scriptural. You said the real women support that. Well, this is Judges, the 5th chapter.
Let's go.
A song, for one, started the first verse to jump down. Judges 5:1. Then sang Deborah and Barak the son of Abinoam on that day, saying, now let me jump down. I'm going to jump down to verse 28. The mother of Sisera looked out at a window and cried through the lattice, "Why is this his chariot so long in coming? Why tarry the woods of his chariot?" Now, this is a woman singing about the victory Israel got over the king. And she's saying, look, his mother was waiting, the other king mother was waiting for him to come return because they've been winning all these wars, right? Her wise ladies answer her, yeah, she returned, answered herself. Have they not spared? Have they not divided the prey? To every man a damsel or two. So there's a woman singing about this other woman, what she'll be thinking about her son come back with the victory. They come back with a damsel or two.
Right?
Because we knew there was a doctrine.
What the Bible says in the scriptures. The women was like, hell yeah, bring the women back. That mean we won. But they saw you come back with the women. That mean you won. That's a spoiler of war.
Right.
That's why. Hey, look, that's why you call a booty.
And that's what made her life easier.
Yeah, booty.
Exactly.
See, that made her life easier when you brought back some concubines.
Exactly.
Because now she ain't got to cook and none of that.
As much as she had.
As much as she had. She got servants now.
That's it, boy.
What I was about to say.
Absolutely.
And she also and women, all right, were concerned with keeping their man happy.
Happy.
So it's like, so when she was unclean,
Yes.
hey girl, get in
Go
there.
get- go
Take care of him.
Really, you women that only want your man to deal with you actually got a slave mentality, man. Like not the right mind, not a right type of woman slave. You got a fucking peon mentality. You don't have a royal mentality as a woman. Hey, well, Abraham's wife Sarah, she was real. She got rid of bond maid. She was like, man, he ain't gonna be heir with my son. Get rid of him. She was chastising that bitch.
That's right.
Chastised her, man. Your bitches are weak. All right.
And I was gonna mention Jacob.
And Abraham popped that slave woman.
That's right.
She gave it to him.
She
And
asked.
that's why I was gonna mention Jacob because Leah and Rachel sitting there competing for Jacob's affection and love. They sit up there giving their concubines Zilpah and Bilpah over to Jacob. That's the spirit that these women are supposed to have.
That's right.
I'm not recording.
And that's said that I'm gonna play a video. It's literally just a few seconds long about the mindset and of this woman.
You got to think about it.
And this is how women mindset is actually supposed to be. All right. Let's see if I can pull it up. Yeah, this is it. Turn it up. Now just listen closely.
I mean, I don't know women for feeling proud and for wanting to have, that girl power and holding things over her, but you gotta give it up. This is my man, and
Turn that shit off.
all ways wake him up. He gets to that before he leaves out the door. He's leaving empty nets. At work, I'm calling him like, come outside to lunch break. It's time for you to get your nut off. When he gets home, he's getting fed. He's getting another nut and one more bed or two, and he's lucky. That's it. That's a secret. I make sure that my man nuts at least 6 or 7 times a day.
So that's what I'm talking about. That's how it's supposed to be. Man. Yeah,
No, girl, it's like what she said was not real point. Bitch, man is trying to fuck you 6 times a day.
Not
He's
you.
trying to fuck 6 different bitches.
Let's go. Put the pen where it
You fucking another bitch down, you extra ready for your wife.
Exactly.
They can't understand
Y'all
that.
know I'm talking to girl.
Hey, they can't.
Hell yeah,
Now you know what? Now early on in the truth, real talk though. Early on in the real talk, real early on in the truth. When I was first starting to deal with the woman on a regular basis versus in the world being an actor, I was just jumping from one bitch to bitch.
Bring it out.
And so by the time I got into the truth, I said I'm not gonna be doing that anymore because we just don't do this. Trying to just be out there like
One
that.
wife, bitch.
So I was dealing with the one woman for one, but bam, and I remember dealing with coming to truth. I understood we have different women, whatever. I went out and got me some puss. I was so hot from my main species.
I know,
to the point she was like, God damn, what's all this? And she didn't know it's because I was so hot to go hit her because I already hit some other shit. Y'all bitches don't know the Lord. Y'all don't know
Makes
men.
home feel
Y'all don't know
homey
how
again.
it's supposed to be. See what?
Makes home feel homey again.
It makes what?
Home feel homey again.
You know, you don't know, man, the way the Most High set it up. You follow Esau, Edom. You'd rather not have a woman.
being
Right.
OR, man. I came into the truth and kicked Mama Edomites to the curb.
I did the same.
Damn, son.
And y'all know, she used to buy pizzas, used to sit there buy wine, and do shit. All the brothers used to call her Edomite and the whole nine, and she still right there. And I kicked her ass out. My dumb ass. But that was the Lord, because I was too comfortable.
And it's right. And the thing is they treated better than the damn Jacob.
Bring it out.
Yup. Oh well. We learned.
Go ahead, read.
Hey, scripture say she that is my enemy, man. Our women treat us like shit.
That's it.
It's fucked up. We gotta go to these other nations to get fucking ease, man.
Salaki, real quick.
When
Yaki,
you
you
do
did
it,
that. Salaki, Yaki, you did the video on it the other day. Because on the simple bitch that he talking about. Remember what she said? She said, why are we be over here being slaves? Why do you think I want to come to a slave? I'm going to the white man, he the slave master. I'm going to the slave master. If we're going to this up and this, that's wicked niggas, women mentality. They would rather go. They follow the money. Who's in power? And now what they don't understand is that Jake, even at a lower state, is still in power. All right,
Jake rule the world. Jake, in scripture say, we're the form of all things. Nothing actually happens. Really, Jake is the trendsetters. Jake is the creators.
The inventors
Jake
of
is
this.
the inventors. Jake is the the charisma. Jake is the flavor of the whole planet. Even in Jake lower state, we still run this bitch, but we just in such a hey. That's how you know it's Yahweh Shema Shah that did this to us, man. That he set it up the basis of men. Because even though we doing what we doing now in slavery, we got these weak motherfuckers ruling over us, man.
Well, Malcolm said it. You know, even though these niggas are low level in wickedness, all right. What was the Israeli bitches doing? They wanted to deal with John Rule in 56.
He said
This Deuteronomy 32 and 30. How shall one chase 1,000 and two put 10,000 to flight?
Come on, man.
Except their rock has sold them.
Come on, man.
And the Lord has shut them up. We only here because we fucked up with the Lord. He put us in.
That's right.
Ain't no way in hell you can take us down. Ain't no fucking way a heathen can fuck with the Israelites, man.
Right.
All right? You trying to tell me, look, who was it, Reuben, that put a mouthful of water and run across the fucking field?
Reuben, stand up.
You trying to tell me that you can fuck with that? You trying to tell me you can fuck with the, who was it, Benjamin, that can throw the sling rock in the hands, bro? Accuracy like that, man. You trying to tell me you can fuck? You trying to tell me you can fuck with Manasseh, nigga?
Yeah,
They said that the first lacrosse games with Gad.
That
You know,
was bad with the water.
they get Gad with the lacrosse.
Yeah.
It was a
Now the
mile.
lacrosse field is like about less than a
No,
football
it was a
field.
mile long.
Say that again, brother.
It was the lacrosse.
They played a mile long. They did not do no motherfucking 300, 200 something feet.
Yards
They did
or
a
whatever.
hard yards or what the fuck. They went a mile, and they would take that stick with the basket with the little web and the little ball, and they would sit there and try to fight, and then toss to another a mile.
Yeah, look at the soccer field, man.
Come on, bro.
Oh yeah, that's big.
And all those sports came by Jake, man. Hockey came by niggas, man.
Yes.
Hockey it was started by Jake, bro.
Yep.
Hockey, football, basketball, all that shit was by Jake, nigga.
That's
And
right.
Esau took it over.
I got one.
Capitalize.
Bastards. And they won't let they don't let niggas hardly in the NFL, but there are niggas in the NFL. Every time they do, they rock shot. And a lot of them, Peter might just look about, well, those are Jake, man.
And they chill.
And they just
And also, well, they tell you the best hockey player. See, a lot of white people on TV watch TV and don't know hockey. They think Wayne Gretzky. They tell you the best hockey player is One Eye Willie. That's his nickname. One Eye Willie. Yeah, nigga, that was the best hockey player, man. This the next verse. For their rock is not as our rock, even our enemies themselves being judges. So we're dealing with the true living power, man. If we fuck up, we make even our enemies rule over us, man. That's the only reason you in power, man. We wasn't sold for our destruction. All right, we were sold for our correction, our chastisement, says in Baruch. All right, and the Lord also says we should not be destroyed, man. Malachi 3:6. This is the waking up of Israel. And the beginning of us being back on top, man, starting with our Lord Yahweh Shai.
That's
right. It's the spirit of the Lord, right? You got 6 niggas in the car with guns, and one cop pull them over, and they all go to fucking jail, and they can kill a cop and get the fuck away with it. That's the. Hey, look, only the Lord will put it in your mind not to kill this one cop. It's 6 of y'all here with guns, got over 200 bullets in this car, and y'all get locked up by one cop. Hey, that's the Lord that put that spirit on Jake. Hey, Jake, you gotta think, Jake was swole as hell in slavery, man. You had Jake.
That's what he said in Candy.
Candy, like,
he said,
I don't know why they don't cut.
I don't know why. If I had access to it, so I would cover.
You sitting there shaving his neck, and here it is. You could just slit his neck and everybody free. But yet Jake didn't do it. They had hundreds and hundreds of slaves, and they was in the dozens. The Edomites was in the dozens on them plantations. Jake could have easily came against Esau and did it. That was the Lord that put that mindset on
to make you go along with it.
To make you go along with it.
They even said that there was one of those cartoon videos on YouTube for years, and it talked about how how when the KKK was started and when the rifles. When they passed that law where you could have when Negroes couldn't have handguns or guns, and they took them away, and they said because the slave masters were afraid that their former slaves would attack them and come back at them, but he said all they wanted to do was be free. So Jake didn't really have that mindset there, and the few that did, they all got put to death. All right, Sitting Bull, Geronimo,
Like you said,
Nat Turner.
The sevenfold.
You know,
the
you know, because the thing is that there's a time and time and chance belonging to every man, and it just wasn't time for Jake to raise up yet, man. It wasn't time.
I got precept.
Bring it out, bro.
No, I'm just saying, the Levites that brought him to the South Carolina with the Gullah Islands, they had a power to kill a man with a voice. Now, how does Esau subdue it? It's the Lord, man.
Is that's when they put that thing on their mouth?
Yeah, keep them from talking.
They said because they something that they could do, yeah. But and then you think about what the Levites did to Esau as well. You know, but Levi has been below poverty ever since.
Yep.
You know, Levi fucked them Edomites up, and they deserved every bloody stroke
They had
got.
coming. Right.
They deserved it, but look at the condition that the Haitians have been in collectively as a people.
Yeah.
You know,
And they was made to pay their former slave masters reparations.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Look at the position that they're in to this day.
They were still making payments from 200-300 years ago, just these decades.
I thought they just finished. Yeah.
I don't know if they finished it, but they were still paying.
Yeah, they just finished it not that long ago.
Yeah, and that was that was on the books, and that's a shame was viewing.
That's unrighteous again as well.
And that land was rich in gold, just like Puerto Rico.
And
a lot of them islands. How are they fucking rich in gold, and then 500 years later they're in debt? It's got to be foul play.
That was good. Just what they did with the Tuskegee, they did that same experiment in Guatemala, and Vice basically just went back there. And what they did is, if you read history, like the elder says, if you read Esau's history, it says that they treated them people, some they did and some they didn't, try to seem like he was a bad guy. When Vice went down there, they basically said no, they didn't get no treatment. The whole study was to see 2 or 3 generations down how untreated syphilis would go down in generation. That second and third generation, they'd be born blind, deaf, all kinds of disabilities, man. And this man really thinks he's gonna get off that, but I'm just gonna read this in Genesis because this is why the Lord
They found out they did some stuff like that to some white folks.
Oh, up in arms, baby.
There will be a serious problem, man. I mean, you got incidents that have been completely fabricated that supposedly happened to white people, and they still getting reparations for it. Like a particular event that happened in World War II. But we won't say nothing more.
Hologram.
This is Genesis 4:15. It says
That's what it was.
Exactly, a hologram.
Damn hologram.
Compared to what happened to us, hell yeah, man. Compared to what happened to the natives with Judah collectively, man, that was a speck, man.
You're talking about,
even those fake ass numbers,
maybe you can even, man, it could be close to 50 million to 100 million souls, man. The America, just North America alone, man.
Right, just the
It could be
trail
500 million. We're not even talking about what happened in
The travel and all this other stuff.
Hispaniola and all the stuff that happened in the islands in South America, man.
Livestock, everything. But this is a Genesis 4:15. It says, and the Lord said unto him, therefore said, whoever slayeth Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. So that's the only reason it would be so many Jakes, to a plantation, and they couldn't do anything because the Lord had that hedge of protection on Esau. But guess what? It's going to be removed. And when that ship comes, all the other precepts like Isaiah, Jeremiah 37,
it's gonna be bad with
30 and 16, Isaiah 33 and 1.
And I think it's getting there because Edomites are starting to get jacked up more and more around here in America and around the world, man.
Off of GP.
Yeah.
And that brother Yazra brought that to my attention when he was talking about the Ohio shit. This is fucking up Edomites.
Perfect.
Even though we all around them, but it's like the plays and the shit, the swords, all that shit. It's happening to Edomites.
I got a scripture for you. This is Deuteronomy 30 and 7.
Yep.
And Yahweh thy power will put all these curses upon thy enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. So that's got to happen. That's written. It's got to happen, and it's happening.
And it's happening.
I'm about to say it's
Where you're reading the Deuteronomy, it says, when we shall turn again to the Lord. So that's basically, since we're turning to the Lord, all these things are going to happen. Our enemy's going to be confounded. The precept, they're going to be found liars.
You know what? I'm gonna get it.
I knew I was sending you. That was only an assist.
The alley-oop, man. I'm slam. Deuteronomy 33:29.
Go up there and get it.
Happy art thou, O Israel, who is like unto thee, O people saved by Yahweh, the shield of thy help, and who is the sword of thy excellency, and thy enemies shall be found liars unto thee, and thou shalt tread upon their high places. And when we tell the truth, and when we bring out these things and expose them, we're treading on their high places, man. And if you think that this isn't making them very uncomfortable, this is why the parents are always crying about CRT. They want certain topics brought out of school. Children, little Edomites kids come home. I'm wicked. Yeah, I don't want to be white no more. We put people in slavery.
Right.
That's shameful. And so that's because you were proud of that not that long ago.
Right.
They were proud of all the hangings and the covered in the fields.
Making postcards.
All those postcards.
Yeah, they were proud of that history.
That's it.
Elder, the internet wasn't an issue when Esau was using these devices to share pedophile files, to share all this information. The internet and social media only became a problem when it started spotlighting everything that we're saying is correct and it's exposing him. The internet wasn't an issue when these pedophiles were passing back and forth their files,
Piece of cake, all that shit.
emails, confirmations. You know what I'm saying? Receipts.
No,
It wasn't a problem then, but now that the internet is being used from something other than their wickedness, now there has to be controls, censorship, audits, recognition, because now they want to trace everything, and they've been moving towards this for years. But basically, your phone confirms everything. Your identity, all now is being used for legal documents. Like now, the DocuSign. If I send you something to an email that can be confirmed through text, that is now your legal signature.
Yeah.
So Esau, like you said, Esau changed the rules when it's about him, when you have to stamp and serve me, but when it's about getting you locked up, using the evidence against you, he could use your phone and your timestamps to fucking hang you from a tree. See, it's only a problem when it's against him.
Exactly.
When it's against you, it's evidence.
I mean, but that's how they do it.
No, go ahead. No. So speaking of hanging from the tree, they try to bring those lynch laws and all
back,
that.
But they're trying to bring the Jim Crow laws back too.
Yeah, I say bring it back.
Please.
Isaiah 13,
Please.
14. Everybody should go back to their own.
Well,
chase Rose.
You had a lot of Negroes laughed at that and said, "Okay, well," and then they answered, "Well, we ain't our grandfathers." You try right.
I mean, the funny thing to say that is, on a lot of these TikTok videos, Instagram, Esau is starting out not giving a fuck about being coy anymore. They're coming out saying like, look, I'm telling you, if you're white, move away from black folks because of blah, 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 blah. They're starting to bring that narrative. See, now the difference is, I agree with the apostles, man. Ain't gonna ever be no race war that's a straight white on black. This is gonna be a people war.
It's gonna be a
people war. It's gonna be black on white on Spanish.
Because you're gonna have that dumbass Jake that's gonna stand with Esau too. So it's gonna be a free fall. Because it is gonna be a huge racial aspect, but it's also gonna be a free fall.
That's why I said bring those Jim Crow laws.
It's gonna be. I got it right here. It's gonna be the biggest free fall in history. It's gonna be from citizens all the way up to World War III. This is Isaiah 19 and 2. We got the second 15, right? This Isaiah 19 and 2. And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his brother. So this is gonna be regular, niggas on niggas, crackers on crackers, gooks on gooks, right? And everyone against his neighbor, friends fighting against each other. Scriptures tell us.
Come on,
City against city.
Tell you that dude that shared beers with you across the fence gonna be trying to come in your back door. Gonna be trying to go in your basement door, your garage to get
them canned goods.
You know you got them canned goods in your garage.
Right.
Yeah, it's like city against city. So again, they brought up this Texas, leave the United States again. This is in talks again, man.
Yeah,
they're trying to see who's gonna join them. So don't be surprised if they take some more.
And if Texas does do that, I can tell you right away, Florida gonna join them. Georgia gonna join them. Alabama and California, they may not accept the California to them though. They don't like Californians too much. But Utah, Idaho, it's gonna be. See, here's the problem: the whole of the South. If Texas break away, the whole of the South will more than likely follow them. Plus, and now this time, you know, the union won't be the bigger group because when those southern states break away from
Everything else
Texas,
goes splinter.
you're gonna have northern states join on to
Yeah,
Texas.
a lot of Midwest states. So
You got a lot of
Illinois is a red state.
The what?
Chicago really is the only spot in Illinois that's not red.
Yeah, I was gonna say it goes splinter. It
Chicago
goes
goes
splinter.
The votes go Democrat. But as far as the state goes, this is red.
The what?
So don't be surprised. This shit go, and I hope it happens because
Yeah,
I
because
want to move to a red state anyway.
once you pass the south suburbs,
Will count.
once you pass the south suburbs of Chicago, it's all red.
As soon as you
As
get
soon as you cross the border into Indiana, it's about 80% red.
yeah, Cook County is blue. Outside of Cook, you go to Wheeler,
Yeah,
DuPage, and everything.
Yeah.
They're all
And
blue.
Joliet is a split. Joliet is where it starts, which is
Yes.
Will County.
Right.
It's two parts of Joliet. You got a nigga part of Joliet, and you
Absolutely.
got the most racist.
Absolutely. I worked out there. Hell yeah. Joliet down the Grove.
This nigga went to the gas station. We was going to my uncle had bought a crib out of Joliet. He thought he was doing good because he was in the middle part. While niggas was going straight.
Yeah.
We at the gas station at the cracker part. Them niggas had the high beams on their car. They was on my ass. We had to get the fuck out of there. You don't talk shit.
Hey,
Look, you don't talk shit back to these crackers right here. There's too many crackers.
Hey, I was working out that way in Burr Ridge. And when I got hired, the owner of the company told me that he have not hired a person of color that did not get tracked down by these police at some point in time, pulled over, and they shit ran. And the day that it happened was the same day I missed your graduation, because that's exactly what the fuck happened.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Take this time to apologize and tell you. It wasn't me.
I'm sorry.
It's a live show, Pop.
Hey,
Sorry,
I've been to Decatur, Illinois, Pontiac, Illinois, Pekin, Peoria. Shit. Went to college in Lincoln. Yeah, that's definitely red. Definitely red as a motherfucker.
Hey, Bloomington too, boy. Bloomington.
Right
Alsop, man.
Right. Oh, that's definitely red out there.
Hey, man, what you mean? Orland?
That's no good
Oh, you mean Orland? Oakland?
No.
To this day, niggas don't want to drive down 95th. Because by the time you go down 95th, you won't get about 25
crackers police in Oakland are pissed off that we moving on that side.
Hey,
Mount Greenwood.
I got called a nigga the first time at 10 years old in 71 in Oakland. My dad was working at a Fiat dealership out there. We riding through, a couple white boys on a Polo. I'm like, what the hell? My sister heard it. My sister heard it. I'm like, what the fuck he say? He said, hey, you niggas get out of our neighborhood. Oh shit, pull over. I was fighting that day. I was ready to whoop both of them. My dad was like, nah. And then I realized now, they'll lynch us out there in Oklahoma. They would have lynched us in the 70s out there.
Yeah, my father told me they beat a J with a bat like Oklahoma.
Yep. Hey, those crackers are mad. Even out in Lansing and Linwood, them crackers mad.
Oh yeah,
Niggas out there.
motherfucker, boy.
Yeah.
Ooh,
They city against city and kingdom against kingdom. That's that free fall, man. And that goes all the way from citizens up to World War III. The spirit's point out there, the Lord point that spirit of violence, man. The violence shall Babylon fall.
Hey, to land back on that, my brother, he a paintball referee. So he'd go out to these hick towns, and he said multiple times, the guys he go with, the Edomites he roll with, they had to stick up for him for a couple times because Esau was ready to kill my brother. Like, we ready to kill him. Right. Esau telling my brother how they going buy ammunition. They buy by the pallets. When Esau go buy ammo and they get their buddies together and they come up with a fund, they put their money together and they go buy a pallet. They buy a pallet of guns.
They buy by weight. They buy by weight.
Hey, look, he know farmers, all of this. And that's facts. Because Esau thinking my brother fucking with them the whole time. My brother like, no, I'm just trying to get what I can get. So he think he gonna have a stash when all hell break loose. But of course, ain't none of that shit gonna matter.
Just like the motherfucking Black Mason Boule motherfucker.
Now I gave a parable about making friends down in this world. So keep it coin with your brother. That may play out for your favor.
Yeah, you mentioned Oakland. I know My grandma used to like going shopping out there back in the 70s. My dad used to bring his gun.
Right.
He used to bring his gun every time they had to go to Oakland, man.
Yeah,
Just take them damn devils that crazy.
Esau, the Lord says, never trust thine enemy.
Period.
He said it's iron rustlers. Esau
always
has
gonna
a
be there.
perpetual hatred. I even tell one of my little lady friends, her so-called best friend is Esau.
Oh,
Another one is Esau. And she worked with Esau at the Paulie G's. You know?
Oh, her. Yeah.
And I said, and so I had to be coy because she's kind of friendly with them.
Don't blow up the spot, brother.
Exactly.
Right.
Right.
Talk about the G's, brother.
Right.
Hey, Lori like what said it, bro.
Don't blow up the spot, brother.
Exactly.
So,
But it got to the point where you got to be coy because these Edomites, man, they're not all Edomites. So you'll get a Jake dealing with the so-called Edomite who's actually a Jake.
Brother, I met one yesterday. I'm telling you. I was sitting down having lunch before I came to camp. I was eating, and Abraham came in, Abraham went up to go get his food, and I was sitting there, and this Irish dude walked up, and you can't go in the bathroom unless you got a code,
Right.
And it's on your receipt if you buy something,
Right.
So he came over to ask me, and he walked up, and first he asked the Jakes that was standing there, and they was like, you got to just ask somebody with a receipt. And he turned around, and I was sitting there, and he walked over to me, and he asked me, and as soon as the dude opened his mouth, I was like, this dude a whole nigga. All right, and only someone who's in the spirit,
Right.
who the spirit is dealing with be able to identify that, because you'll have scoffers, you're probably gonna have some scoff right now.
but that's what it says.
But this dude was a Jake, man. And so he went to the bathroom, and he came, and on his way out, on the way, he came back, and he was like, hey, thank you, brother, appreciate you, brother. And he gave me the fist, and he walked out. And the way he walked, I was like, man, this dude a whole nigga, man. Right. And then Abraham turned around and saw him, and I was like, man, this dude a whole Jake, man.
Who needs a thumb?
Actually, Abraham
say-
did see me. I came here.
I say Esau, put that eat down on their Jim Crow laws, man. Get the chaos happening, man.
Hey, well, it's gonna happen, bro.
Yeah.
One way or another, it's gonna go down.
Well, it's like the elders. I was going to say, and just speaking as a man, Trump is real. He's going up for re-election.
He gonna get it.
No. This is what I'm saying.
Whether he
If
get
they-
it or not get it,
It's going to be
Chaos.
Either way.
if he gets in, it's gonna create
Either way.
chaos.
Yeah.
If he loses again,
Chaos.
it's gonna create chaos.
And I think he's going to lose because they want to set up Kamala. Now, if you watch The Simpsons, when Lisa became the president, she had on the pearl necklaces. When Kamala was voted vice president, it was a whole wave of bitches walking around in pearl necklaces.
Yeah.
And she had the same outfit.
The same
Lisa had
outfit.
on, man.
That's what she had the same outfit that Lisa did.
That shit is gonna.
Yeah.
That's
We
gonna
all-
happen.
We all saw that image of Trump, that shake, and that Chinese dude by that globe.
Yeah.
And that shit came to pass.
Yeah.
15, 20 years later. It's like, you have got to be fucking kidding me. So,
One way or another, it's coming.
predictive programming.
This is Second Ezra 15:4. I'm gonna get a couple precepts. I'm gonna read down a little bit. This is Second Ezra 15:14. It says, "Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. And one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men." Like the brother Capo goes into the word sedition, is them coming against the powers that be, the government.
Ain't gonna be no referees.
Right. So
Right.
that's one level of violence.
It's
You got citizens against governments.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's gonna be like you ever seen that madness when them dudes when they had them
5-on-5.
them 5-on-5 MMA matches.
Yeah, but
All right, it's just chaos, man.
Chaos.
You can't control that shit, man. You know,
That's what happened with the referees.
and the refs trying to run around, and no, you can't do that because you can't keep your eyes on one fight when it's a fight happening behind you, right? And then the way the rules go, if a dude get beat down, if he get tapped out, he out the fight, and the rest of the guys got to fight handicap.
3v5.
So they got 2-on-1, 3-on-1.
The real 5 guys.
3v5.
Handicap.
That shit wrong. Go ahead.
God, it says,
Chaos.
it says, for there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. There shall not
And invading one another is countries, but it's also
Neighborhoods.
people expecting to get real.
Brother, I just saw a thing on my phone not even 10 minutes ago about these high brazen robberies that are happening in when crews are driving around in cars, jacking people
Hold it
at
down
their
on
front,
my
their
that's right.
front door. They or catch you in the parking lot or whatever in the gas station out in LA.
Yeah.
And they're afraid that it's gonna spread across the country.
Yeah, it will.
Yeah,
It will.
100% is. I forget what state it is. It's so many Walmarts, Walgreens. One of the walls are shutting down because of the fucking
Walmart shutting down a lot of
Portland.
stores.
It's Portland.
Portland.
Yeah.
And Portland shutting down damn near all.
All of it.
Yeah, it's too many. There's too many robberies. man.
And they changed
They
the
follow
rules.
motherfuckers home and they going.
I told you, we said that was gonna
And
be
they
happening
changed the
though.
rules to where back in the day, if you did that something to be a felony, but they changed it to where if it's under some $1,000, it's a misdemeanor. So now people going up into the Walgreens, the Walmarts,
And
so
count
forth,
how much
and
they
steak
get.
and stuff. They'll steal always $995.
That ain't $1,000. We
Don't
out.
let them go. And to the point where they're like, you know what? They're gonna shut down because now you and even now in some of these Walmarts and Walgreens, they're putting the lock shit over like milk or eggs or
laundry detergent.
on stuff. You know, it's like, wait a minute, excuse me, I need a salesperson to go get some milk. What the fuck? They started putting shit behind everything. They locking up more than just the baby powder, the liquor or stuff that used to be locked up. Now they're locking up regular ass shit.
Around my job.
For during the pandemic, they had the baby formula, but what you would say is that even if they had boxes of it, they would basically only leave the vouchers because when they did is somebody would break the thing and try to storm out with like a little carton with it. And those were all $45. So you get a box of 12, that's a couple hundred.
Women are stealing like crazy too, especially Edomite women.
Women always
Right,
do.
because Edomite women do steal.
Yeah.
All the time. I worked law prevention for a while, and the majority of people that were stealing was females. But right now, you got Edomite women stealing more than anybody else because nobody watches them.
Well, yeah, that's the whole thing.
Right.
And that's for going around.
I'll just take it out.
Yeah, you haven't been doing that, but it's been tripping.
She could have bought the damn store.
Absolutely.
Yeah, she's stealing.
That's what's been trending on the TV shows and movies lately. It started with weeds. This is about 10 years ago. They started with weeds. Now they got a new show called Good Girls. But it's these Edomites.
Laundry money.
Yeah, but it didn't start as laundry money. They was doing other shit. They do whatever. They do whatever criminal activity, but they make it okay because you're middle class. Edomite. You're struggling now. So now you have no choice but to do these illegal criminal activities.
Just Jakey in Florida going through the goddamn water, you know, saying that he's looting when he got Esau doing it. Oh, he's salvaging all that he can find just to survive this horrible time that he's in right now. So for Jake is they doing wickedness, but for Esau it's okay. He's basically surviving. Looking at it.
Go ahead with the script.
God, it's the 2nd Ezra 15, and I'll read the rest of that verse. It says, one people shall stand to fight against another, and swords in their hands, for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princesses, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power.
So there you go. You got these good old American patriots ready to go against the government. All right, so this is just a lot of just violence on every angle. All right, it says in 2 Ezra 13 that when Yahushua comes, you know, that they're going to leave the wars they're fighting in their own lands. This is going from bottom to top, just violence. Neighbors fighting, friends fighting, motherfuckers going against the government. It's just going to be violence, man. Keep going.
It's just like Dwaba put the brother did a video about the 7-month-old pregnant Judite woman who tried to rob a taxi driver. Getting shot 4 times, and her and the unborn child died.
Yeah.
But that's just the pride of these women. What business does she have being out there being pregnant? The thing is, the pride of these women think they're holding.
When you listen to that story, most of that story, it just don't make sense.
Okay. Right. It doesn't, man.
And she cute. She could have sold that.
I said that. I said that.
God knows.
I said that.
A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able.
Martial law.
Go ahead.
That 15-minute face thing. They got it.
Yeah, the 15-minute series.
Yeah, that's coming.
And they're trying to build those up. They're already preparing for that.
Right.
And that's the same thing because in major cities they already have it built up. They're gonna do the same thing that we used to talk about for years. As soon as we talk about the pre-pandemic, that as soon as some shit hit the fan, they're gonna raise the bridges. Soon as the shit hit it, they was raising bridges all over. Downtown was its own island. You couldn't get there.
Yeah.
Expressway off the
I did
expressway.
that. I did sit down on that.
They had the state police, the Chicago police to stop the shit, not let them come in and go on the bridges. And you couldn't get up the bridge.
The Gold Coast and
Was
the
like that,
and the
right.
second half of the Magnificent Mile became an island.
That's it.
Yeah,
You
if you was coming down the expressway, you couldn't get out to North
Because
Avenue
the
and all that.
Chicago
other shit.
River splits at what like just past LaSalle
Yeah.
and like Wacker.
Mhm.
It goes two directions. It goes the south route and then the north route.
Right.
So they just raised all those bridges, and pretty much everybody that was on
North or south.
north of Wacker Drive, north of the river, was on an island.
That's it.
Right, yeah. 'Cause like
And you can only go north, so you would have to go way north, then go west to come back south.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what they're gonna do to all these 15-minute cities and these major cities. All they're gonna do is put, like, matter of fact, even though
But it ain't gonna help.
it's
It's really not,
It's not
because
gonna
all it's gonna do is everybody on the south side of the river, what we teach, like what Barra Camp used to teach across,
From Science and
Nations, across from Block 37,
Right.
and all those fancy high-rise buildings along the river walk that's on the south side of Wacker Drive. All of them gonna be burning.
smoke coming out.
Because they're gonna because
Niggas gonna be going up in there going.
they're gonna be stuck on the side with all the niggas, figures, and everybody else.
With all those fucking niggas. All on Old Town, it's so many niggas. It's still niggas in Cabrini, Marshfield Gardens.
Yeah.
All them
My
niggas is
client
right
live in
there.
Old Town.
Yeah.
He moved
North
this
Avenue.
Friday.
All them niggas is right
So
there.
that's literally is my clients again. Man, he's one of my last old school. Go back from the he
Right.
moved to Evanston.
Yes.
Well,
All right.
it's like the West Side. They call it the West Side, but the West Side is north.
Yes, man.
Like all the worst part of the West Side, the division and shit.
The Humboldt Park.
Yeah,
all
that's
that
north.
Chicago Avenue, yeah.
All that
North
shit.
Park,
Yeah, because
So when they raise those bridges up, they're gonna be in the midst of all these niggas, man.
Niggas and speakers.
Especially Old Town.
rough ass Humboldt Park Ephraimites.
Humble Park, I got it. Micah 5.
K-Town.
This is Micah 5
Yeah.
and 7 because what like the elders are saying, when shit hits the fan, they set up these new cities, they raise up the bridges. It's only gonna backfire upon Esau. The wicked is snared in the work of his own hand.
Yeah, I can only imagine. And it's probably gonna be the same scenarios in New York.
Oh,
Facts.
yeah.
All the
Oh,
girls.
yeah, the barrels going up.
It's
The
gonna
barrels
be
are
like
going up.
the movie.
The barrels are going.
It's gonna
Warriors.
be-
Right.
I'll go back further than that. That gangs in New York. movie.
Oh, yeah,
Opening
yeah,
scenes,
yeah.
It's gonna be.
Yep.
Yeah, it's gonna get crazy.
Yeah.
This is
Except they gonna bring guns too.
The butcher.
they got a lot of guns. They got a lot of guns. Them niggas that can bring Marshfield Gardens. Them niggas got guns and plenty of it. Humboldt Park. It's a fucking armory in Humboldt Park. It's
Brother,
like a
on
national.
California and
It's
North
the-
Avenue.
And what?
Yeah, look, the Latin Kings broken.
Come.
It's on
California.
It's on North Avenue. It's
California.
on North Avenue in California.
Yep.
You want to
The armory right there.
The Latin Kings broke into that damn armory in the '80s, man.
Right.
And they had them damn laws. They were actually firing laws.
Oh,
at
that's
police.
two of these cars, right?
Uh,
You know what though? They prepared for that though. I just came through the National Guard down there on what's that, Cottage Grove?
Yeah.
53rd, 53rd,
Oh, yeah.
53rd.
Hey.
53rd.
That motherfucking parking lot here, I was coming to see you. That fucking parking lot over there was fucking jammed. They got these motherfuckers in there training right now.
Oh,
The Mexican president said, he said, how is America trying to wage a war basically against the cartels when 80% of all those high capacity arms were made by American companies that didn't even bother to write a serial number 2 track. And this is on top of Fast and Furious. Pops, Jake knows about Fast and Furious, right?
Right.
When Eric Holder, they said gave him all them high powered guns to track,
Well,
and none of them gave them to none of the bosses. They got, you know what they got? They got a bunch of nickel dime and nickel and sack selling ass niggas with them, and not to mention
No serial number.
out of a
No,
this is talking about the 80% of the high capacity. This is aside from the Fast and Furious. In the Fast and Furious, they tracked some, but the guns that they gave them to henchmen, to nickel and dime selling ass niggas. They were hoping, which really wasn't them hoping, is that they gave guns to Mexico, thinking this is what this was the understanding of it, that the cartel members were going to get so wooed that they had high capacity guns that they would give them to the higher ups as gifts, and they would take them. The higher ups weren't going to get those.
They got their own shit.
They had untracked better shit that they had in their hands. So they said, you know what, y'all keep them. So when that Operation Fast and Furious, they ended up giving, I think it was like
They ended up catching low-level guys.
they ended up coming nickel dimes, people that were just holding out at the currency exchange, like Jake does now, 26. Like, god damn, bro. You got a bunch of these liquor stores already
right now with RPGs. 100%.
Exactly.
When niggas say they got the 9 on now in the 90s, 2009, it's talking about 9mm pistol. When niggas say they got the 9 on them right now, they talking about RPGs. Because Rondo number 9
And they
RPG. That's what they talking about. Niggas on the south side right now, West South sure too. But I know he was south.
Yeah.
They got RPGs.
Right, so this one does this.
It's like when you,
How did they get their hands on?
That's
That's
where the brother, the elder brother y'all might went into it, man. Like how he actually witnessed them dropping crates. It's always been a thing in Chicago.
Hey, my cousin
The prophecies must come to pass. Genesis 49:8. Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise. Thy hand shall be in the neck of thine enemies. Thy father's children shall bow down before thee. Jake is right here in the midst of everybody, and you better believe they're going to be, like I said, they're going to be a vexation to Esau, Edom. All right, and then 2/3 going to get destroyed.
Yeah, because guess what? Evergreen Park, Mount Greenwood, is just a few minutes away.
Less than 4 minutes.
So it's gonna, yeah, and there's a whole lot of niggas between there and here. All right,
And they're going to be niggas is
and them Southside Irish cats, them fake Irish that they racist and hateful as hell. Man. All right, they are.
And then your firemen.
Yeah, most of them are your firemen and your cops.
West Garfield Park 2. I mean, West Garfield 55th by the airport right over there.
Yep.
That's a haven too. That's a stronghold.
Yep.
Bridgeport, baby.
That's too good.
Ooh.
What for the Edomites? Con, play that one.
Can he finish this real quick?
Go ahead,
Let
Papa.
me just finish this.
Bible child, all right, get through it this time.
All right.
Once through it, like a strong ass, all right, y'all, let's get through it.
Okay, car is a
This
car.
is, right, and it says, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword.
So that's violence against the rulers, all right? That's violence against citizens, citizen on citizen. Free fall, keep going.
Yeah, we kicking indoors.
It says, and spoil their goods because of lack of the bread and for great tribulation.
So some are gonna be doing it to survive, and some are gonna do it because they've been
Just a
waiting.
car.
Just
Just a
as
car.
troublous times, they've been waiting to get this bloodlust off, right? But keep going.
It says, behold, saith Yahweh, Bashim Yahushua, I will call together all the kings of the earth to reverence me, which are from the rising of the sun, from the south, from the east, and Lebanus, to turn themselves one against another and repay the things that they have done to them.
So that's violence from bottom all the way up to top. That's going from citizen to citizen all the way up to World War III, which just was mentioned in that verse right there, man. The biggest free for all in history.
You right.
The best Royal Rumble, man. The Undertaker ain't gonna win this one.
And you know what, too? St. Benji? There's two types of preppers out there. All right? There's two types of preppers. You got the prepper that's, getting his canned goods, getting his veggies and his seeds together, getting his rice and his beans. He got a shotgun.
Trying to be
He
self-sufficient.
got his stuff. Yeah, he's got a shotgun, his ARs, his pistols. He's got a little system. He ain't trying to really hurt nobody. He just ready to defend his own shit.
Yeah, being self-sufficient.
But then you got
The Raiders.
Then you got those guys. You got guys who they're all they're prepping is weaponry.
Yep.
Because they're not trying to store up food and water because they going to get that shit.
That's it.
All right, and you gotta understand. You got crews of guys who are waiting for this shit to blow.
That's right.
All right, and most of them are Edomites.
And they militia and they train.
And most of them are former military and that sort of thing, man.
They train.
And they're gonna come in packs and they're gonna move out tactically and they're gonna move on neighborhoods and houses and strongholds that they think that's gonna have what they're looking for.
Because
including drugs.
See, they the ones that are seeing this now, and they decided that since the government don't want to do the gun laws and all this other kind of stuff that I've already ex-military done fought for, and I understand attrition. And guess what? I know that this is my constitutional right. I fought and killed motherfuckers to have this right to be able to carry my weapons and this, that, and other. Because if you motherfuckers up in government decide y'all want to get stupid like they did in 1776, I'm supposed to be able to have my weapon to regulate and make this shit get back to normal, or where I got a piece of the pie, and they ready to defend that.
That's fine.
Because we gonna eat that shit up.
We gonna eat all that shit
Yeah,
up.
then you got the clowns that want to save America and bring it back.
That is. That's what they gonna be
The guy
doing.
who's ready and waiting for the chaos.
Yeah.
So you got people just got, like Benji said, you just got guys that got that bloodlust on them and they're waiting to get it out, man. Because the Lord is bringing that barbarian spirit that breached the walls, let the siege begin.
That Troy mentality.
Breach of the city, right?
That Troy mentality.
That clanging of steel, that crossing of the swords. We got guys who waiting for that shit, man.
Absolutely.
I worked with a guy when I used to do security, man, and in the company I work for, they make you do training and all that. He said, "Man, I can't wait for this shit to go down. I'm gonna grab me the baddest bitch, and what she gonna tell me? Ain't gonna be no 911." He said that bitch gonna do whatever I tell her to do, because who she gonna call?
Bring it up.
Damn. This is an armed security guy.
It's security. Yeah. And I looked at him like, damn, nigga. Okay.
See, the thing is, without your help,
Watching my
outside,
Sitdown?
all them niggas gonna die, them bitches gonna die, and all the rest of these motherfuckers. You have to have the spirit of Yahweh,
In the midst of that.
Latino, Native American, or Speckled-Bird. You have to have the spirit of the Lord. But the Lord set that spirit up in them. And that's the reason why we've been
Why there be spirits created for vengeance?
There you go.
That
A
is.
lot of guys are gonna be used as instruments of vengeance.
That's
Right? You're gonna have a couple crazy ass women out there that's used as instruments of vengeance too.
That's it.
But
you gonna have
it is what it
votes
is.
too.
But somebody grab that. We're gonna wrap it up. Let's get that Daniel 12:1, because that's what it's gonna come down to, man. That's gonna end all these unrighteous decrees.
I got it.
Right?
This is Daniel chapter 12, verse 1. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time.
See, that's one of my favorite prophecies, because when people hear prophecies from the past talking about any period of time, especially now. Could you read that again?
And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time.
The first thing I think of is the slave ships. And I think of how we were being hunted down in different various parts of not only Africa, but they're not going to tell you about the full trade.
The whole.
It's not a.
They did it in Portugal and Spain too.
That's
all across,
you already nailed it, so you already know where I was going, because they was going up from Britain to the Europe to Africa to South America. There was a rectangular slave trade in my book. Because going from Africa over to South America to Europe and back, we were mixed and mingled every motherfucking where, and how they treated us was horrible. If you go to the time of when they brought us over here, hanging us, raping us, robbing us, that was horrible. The Lord's saying right here, it's going to be a time, unlike any other time. Oh shit!
You've been through some shit.
What you talking about?
Yeah, well, you think about, all right, so what he's saying is that, like if you study history, it probably wasn't the worst of the wars, but it probably was one of the most bloody and most violent, was Vietnam. Right? That was some sick shit that went on.
Asian orange, white orange,
that went on. Well, just
everything, the foliage and everything
from both sides. The Vietnamese righteously though, because they were defending their home. All right. The American and Allied forces were over there on some unrighteous decrees.
Right.
But nevertheless, soldier had to defend himself. But it was some very fucked up violent shit went over there. So to think that something could be worse than that. Just go watch Platoon or watch Full Metal Jacket.
Nigga called with
Watch
napalm.
Hamburger Hill, man. They call the place Hamburger fucking Hill, man. All right,
Napalm.
Well, those were all done during times where it was justified and there was rules of engagement for war. Now,
and they didn't obey them
what I'm
because
saying is-
because according to the Geneva Convention, the 50 cal is not supposed to be fired at troops. That's an anti-aircraft weapon.
Hey, you
But
ain't.
they got 50 cals mounted on top of fucking Jeeps and shit.
Hey,
man.
hey,
On top of Humvees,
like,
on top of tanks and shit.
When
And
I-
they ain't firing at helicopters and planes.
Hey.
They firing at buildings and at people.
hey.
All right?
It's funny that-
You ever seen a 50 cal bullet, man? You know how big it is?
like that boy,
Yeah, it's literally
as long
it's
as
damn
that.
near as long as these two phones together.
You seen the new movie?
Damn
Plane?
near.
Seen the new movie Plane? And it's called Plane. They're shooting 50 cals through. He's going through the Jeeps.
Oh, the one with
and still hitting the guy and throwing him 50 feet.
If you get narrowly missed by
Whistles.
a bullet, it hit your ear, go past your ear basically bust, bro.
Yeah,
That shit rip your shit off.
man.
Yeah.
And it's a nasty ass weapon. I was a
It's my
machine gun. I was an
fucking
old 331 machine gun. And that was what I did.
So you had a quick death wish.
So that's what I did. I mean, that was my first MOS in the Marine Corps. So I got went to a better MOS, but I was old 331. That's a machine gun. That's literally what that is.
This shit sound
The 50 cal it's a fucked up weapon, man. So was the 30 cal, man. All right.
A lot of Vietnam's soldiers came back fucked up. They had to do drugs to get. I used to work with a dude from Vietnam that would fucking lose it, man. I had to calm his ass down, man. So that nigga was too big to be losing it, man.
Chopping them down.
Yeah, go ahead, brother. Read it again.
Back in this Daniel 12:1, and at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince will stand for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, even to the same time.
Right.
And Joe Biden boasted in that. He said, "Look, y'all can't fight against us with guns. We got missiles, man."
Yeah. So imagine Vietnam everywhere. That's the point of it.
Right.
Only way
That's the point of everywhere.
Guerrilla warfare.
Only way out of this is the Lord, man.
That's right.
He that brought these plagues upon you, the same shall deliver you. There is no other way. We can't take Esau down carnally, not by our own means. This is impossible. Biden said this to us. You can't fuck with us. Y'all got guns. We got missiles.
Remember the little proud butch sergeant?
Yeah.
She said the same thing. She was talking about all you patriots, that want to fight against the government, fight against the army, and she laughed. She said, y'all might put up a good stand for like 10 minutes.
Till we turn into a video game.
Until it turned to hamburger fucking evil.
That's it.
Go ahead and finish it, y'all.
It says, and at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book.
So do your best, Esau. Do your fucking worst, man. You ain't gonna. I'm just saying, plan. You ain't gonna be able to fuck with us.
I did.
Plan is simple, man. This ain't 70 AD.
That's
And
right.
Archangel Michael coming, man.
Yeah.
He got our back this time, man. Our Lord Yahweh Shai, so Rock 428 says, strive for the truth unto death, and the Lord shall fight for thee. So this ain't Yahweh Shai said we'll be trodden the foot until the time of the Gentiles be done. Y'all through.
Yeah.
Y'all through.
And this time it said vengeance is in his heart.
Con.
Come back, vengeance is in his heart, man. That's the Lord is coming back to take vengeance for the controversy of Zion.
That's right.
You're gonna acknowledge who we are.
That's right.
And then it's good.
You're gonna acknowledge who we are.
And he said it's long suffering. You know what? When the Lord says he's long suffering, it means he's been suffering for a fucking long time.
But he ain't suffering no
this
more.
bullshit, and he's done. All right. When the Most High says he's done, and he tells Yahweh Shai, who Yahweh Shai, according to the scriptures, doesn't know when the Lord say that moment's going to happen. The Lord said Yahweh Shai is going to leap.
Leave.
It said the
Leave.
righteous indignation. So that fury in the
That's stacked up on top of stacked up
in
on
that
top of
righteous
stacked up.
tone. So it's like basically you earned all this shit. All this shit.
Battle cry. Yeah. Wow.
The dregs.
That's right. That's right.
Come. You got one? You got one of these last two. Bring them up, bro.
This is Ezekiel 25 and 14.
Perfect.
Oh, yeah,
And I
perfect.
will lay my vengeance upon Edom by the hand of my
Start at
people.
12, brother.
This is Ezekiel 25 and 12. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, because that Edom had dealt against the house of Judah by taking vengeance and have greatly offended and revenged himself upon them. Therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, I will also stretch out my hand upon Edom and will cut off man and beast from it, and I will make it desolate from Teman, and they of Dedan shall fall by the sword. They're going to get a heavy ass destruction coming. Verse 14. And I will lay my vengeance upon Edom by the hand of my people Israel. And they should do in Edom according to my anger and according to my fury. And they should know my vengeance, saith the Lord Yahweh.
And every man of the Lord wants to be part of that.
Hey, ground
And
force.
if you don't want to be a part of that, then you're not a man of the Lord. Bring out your scripture.
Isaiah 59 and 19. So shall they fear the name of the Lord from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the spirit of the Lord shall lift up the standard against him. Right, that standard, man, goes into fleeing. The one that I love about it, man, it goes into our power back, man. It says force back. So just like the elder just brought out earlier in lesson, he said, "How could one chase 1,000? Because we're gonna have a power back."
That's right.
With thee.
That's right.
And that's on this side.
It
Before
made
we
me
get our bodies.
It made me think of that Daniel 11 when he said that, but the people that do know the Heavenly Father, they're gonna do exploits. The Most High is about to raise up his men. He's going to make us
glorious.
With thee, well, the kingdoms. With thee, you'll be battle axes and weapons of war. The Most High is done with
Hey, the Lord said all the mountains shall be shaken out of their place.
So all the
government's going to be brought down. All right. So with that, man, we're going to give all praises, honor, and glory to
Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Hashem, we conquer us.
I'm charged. It's all fucking toast.
This is what happens when you fuck with the wrong people.
Like this.